too late.
You passed that point a long time ago.
Long ago.
'Cause perpetuating lies and deception.
They're so good at it.
Is the only thing that you seem to know.
They're going to do what they do.
And you thought that you'd be safe in your tower.
They're not.
Insulated from the people below.
Not anymore.
But the truth has undermined your foundation.
You got that right.
But so many people now in the know.
We're figuring it out.
You thought that you'd see the day that you could just get away from the ones you betrayed, who raised their voices to say you won't be trusted anymore.
All right, well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wednesday Hump Day. Don't be a chump and don't you ever crump day version of the WTF Reports. I'm Dave vonKleist, your host. And on this Wednesday, that song, when I wrote that all those years ago, that was dedicated to the media. But now we're focusing not just on the media, but on our government. Yeah, you won't be trusted anymore. Why should we trust them? Why? Why should we trust these monsters? Anyway, before I get started, I got a bunch of stuff to get to today, but I want to mention that, of course, as always, this broadcast is brought to you in part by The Wave Watch. And yeah, it's picking up steam. Other podcasters are starting to promote The Wave Watch, and there's darn good reason for it, because it's based upon the philosophy that Tesla gave us: frequency is everything. And Royal Raymond Rife figured out how to use sound frequencies to help us. Yeah, remember all those bells that they used to have all over Europe and they destroyed them? Yeah, that's because they produced frequencies that actually healed people. And now, no, it's not conspiracy theory. No, it's not pie in the sky. Scientists are now figuring out that, yes, frequency does affect your body, and in a positive way. And that's why the Wave Watch is so cool. It's a Rife machine you wear on your wrist. If you haven't checked it out, I invite you to visit our website, TheWTFReports.com, and the pop-up will take you to an area where you can read all about the Wave Watch, how and why this thing works. So check it out, folks, and you'll get a hefty discount, by the way, if you order through the website. So go to TheWTFReports.com and check out the Wave Watch. Okay, as I was just saying, you won't be trusted anymore. Now, that song 30 years ago was directed towards the media, and it still applies. The media is lying to us. The networks, ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, all of them, they're all lying to us. And you can also include Newsmax and One America News and OAN, same thing. Yeah, they're all freaking lying to us. All of them. If you want the truth, you got to look outside of the domestic networks. Go to Al Jazeera or RT. No, Sky News is, they're doing a little better job than the domestic ones, but they're under control too. And the BBC, forget the BBC. So if the truth is never easy to find, how easy is it to channel surf through the networks? Use your head, folks. You could figure this out. But sometimes, they tell us right to our face what they're going to do. And I got a couple clips here from Mike Johnson. And Mike Johnson at one point was talking about the insider trading. Everybody's been looking at the insider trading. Yeah, I mean, that's a no-brainer. When you've got lobbyists out there that are saying, hey, look, if you vote this way, we'll give you a whole snot load of money. And, oh, by the way, we're making a deal with this other company, and our stocks are going to go through the ceiling. So they get a little inside information. They buy a snot load of stocks, and glorioski, they make all kinds of money. Yeah, I mean, that's what insider trading is all about. And Mike Johnson is actually defending this. And again, lobbying is bribery. That's all it is. Here's Mike Johnson telling you about how these poor congressmen, they didn't get a raise in all these years, so we have to let them do the insider trading. If you were to do it, you'd be under arrest. And they're basically trying to legalize it for Congress. Here it is.
Well, look, the salary of Congress has been frozen since 2009. When you adjust for inflation, a member of Congress today is making 31% less than they made in that year. It goes down every year. And over time, if you stay on this trajectory, you're going to have less qualified people who are willing to make the extreme sacrifice to run for Congress. And it's just people just make a reasonable decision as a family on whether or not they can come and move to Washington, have a residence here, residence at home, and do all the things that are required. So the counter argument is, and I have some sympathy, look, at least let them engage in some stock trading so that they can continue to, take care of their family.
Yeah. Oh, the poor congressman. They're not making enough money. Where do they get, $175,000 a month or something? I mean, could you do that? I could live on that kind of money. Our founding fathers, when they established this country, they didn't see, running for Congress and being in the Senate as a career. You would go there, you would serve a couple terms, and then go back to your district and just go back to being whoever it is that you were before you went to Congress. But now you've got career politicians out there, and of course they're not going to go back to what they used to do because they're making so much money trading, doing insider trading. So he's trying to get some sympathy for our members of Congress that just don't make enough money. Oh, these poor congressmen. That's his insanity. And they're actually getting the sympathy from the sheeple out there. And you know what else he's got in store for us? We've got we've crossed over $30 trillion, $40 trillion in debt. I forget what. It's just an astronomical number. So how are they going to pay it off? Hey, Mike, what have you got in mind to help pay off the national debt? What do you got?
The reason we're in trouble is because over 74% of federal spending is on autopilot, mandatory spending. That's your entitlement programs like Medicare, Medicaid, and then things like Social Security. They have to be adjusted and fixed. We have a plan to do that next year.
Oh, really? They're going to go after your Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security? Uh-huh. Interesting. Yeah. Oh, well, are you still celebrating the Knicks' victory from Saturday night? Yeah. And meanwhile, what's happening? We're still talking about Section 224 of the NDAA. But before I get to that, we've been sending billions of dollars, $3.8 billion every year in foreign aid to Israel. They have free health care, free education, free childbearing leave. And the mom gets a check every month until the child reaches 18 years old. And we are paying for it. Yeah. What else are we paying for? Hey, you ask any veteran. He'll tell you it's true that your Washington leaders don't care about you. So, and this goes back 30 years when I was working with Joyce with the American Gulf War Veterans Association, and how the veterans, when they come back from serving honorably in the country, they find out exactly what it means to be an army of one. Because you're on your own, buddy. Good luck trying to get help from the VA after you've been exposed to chemicals, biologicals, experimental vaccines, prednistigmine bromide pills. Yeah, you're on your own, buddy. Oh, and if you've got problems, it must be in your head. You've got PTSD. Go get a kitten or admit that you're a latent homosexual. That's the type of crap that they've been putting our veterans through. So while they do that, while they take our veterans and put them through the ringer and let them be destitute and homeless, what happens? Let's take care of the IDF, believe it or not. Yeah, here, listen to this.
They recently come under fire and said that I am spreading misinformation and anti-Israel propaganda because the United States government is not trying to give the IDF forces military benefits. So here's the actual bill. So here's Bill H.R. 8445. You look down here in the white box, second line down, it says Committees, House, Veterans Affairs. Okay, so the VA. Here's the language. The bill provides eligibility to U.S. citizens who are serving in the Israeli Defense Forces to benefits and protections available under the U.S. ERRA and the Service Members Relief Act, which means that they would get the same benefits on your taxpayer dime.
Wow.
As a retired United States Marine, this shit makes me sick to my fucking stomach because I still know guys to this day that are fighting with the VA just to get to 60 or 80%, let alone 100 P&T. Guys that are fighting with the VA getting lawyers because they can't get cancer treatment because it's too expensive. Homeless veterans out the fucking wazoo. Veterans that need help because they're strung out on drugs from what they've done. They cannot cope with their life. So we have all these U.S. veterans that are struggling. U.S. government says they don't have the resources, but they want to allocate hardworking American taxpayer dollars for a foreign nation's military that, not for nothing, is committing a fucking genocide and crimes against humanity that, in my eyes, is nothing but a bunch of fucking terrorists. That's disgusting. I don't give a fuck if they're U.S. citizens or not. If they're U.S. citizens, they want benefits, and they should have signed up to fight for this fucking country.
Yeah, tell me how you really feel. Yeah, I had to edit that. And, if bottom line here is you're not mad enough. You're just not mad enough. And meanwhile, this Section 224, oh my gosh, oh my dear God in heaven. And it's, people say, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Oh, yeah, nah. Well, guess what? It's not conspiracy theory, and we conspiracy theorists are batting 1,000 right now. As a matter of fact, Colonel Daniel Davis was being interviewed by Clayton Morris on Redacted. Redacted. If you haven't checked out Clayton Morris, you really should. He and his wife, Natalie, are doing a yeoman's job. And by the way, Clayton Morris used to be on Fox. And he and Tucker Carlson are good, close friends. And as far as I'm concerned, they're both on the same page. But listen to what Colonel Daniel Davis had to say about this Section 224 of the NDAA. And I know I've been talking about this for over a week, and well, we should be talking about it for a week and for a month until our Congress realizes and gets their head pulled out of their rectum and realizes that they are committing treason. It is absolute, irrefutable, undeniable, pharmaceutical-grade, bald-faced treason is what they're doing. Listen to Colonel Daniel Davis.
They're not just spying. It is espionage. They use that word very carefully. If any country on this planet was conducting espionage against senior administration officials, we would be going crazy about it and taking immediate action to stop that, and we have literally taken no action.
Okay, I'm going to pause it for a second. Now, he's referring to the report that came out last week that Congress and the Pentagon has been spied on by Israel. They've been doing this. They have been monitoring this. It's called espionage. And they're doing it right under everybody's nose. And so the point is, and this is one of the reasons why Bibi Netanyahu says, hey, look, we're not going to worry about that $3.8 billion we get every year in foreign aid. We don't need that anymore. We're going to start phasing that out. Why would he say that? Because he knows doggone well that he's got the Congress and the Senate in his back pocket, because they've been all blackmailed or harassed or blackmailed, bribery, coercion, those three magic words. Yeah, they're controlling everybody. Anyway, let's let him continue here. Yeah, this is espionage. And so now with the NDAA Section 224, they won't have to do that anymore because they're going to merge. Or, I said the other day, take over. Okay, it's not necessarily taking over, but it's merging the U.S. and the Israeli military. So they'll have access to our multi-hundred-billion-dollar military budget. Anyway, carry on, Colonel Davis.
To stop, at least nothing that's being reported, and to such that it's going to continue to be a problem. And man, that just really feeds this whole narrative of who's calling the shots. And it was one other important part of that story I think is important to point out is that apparently this hit the Office of the Director of National Intelligence Office at a certain point, but it was suppressed to be released until after Congress had voted on Section, I think it was 224 of the NDAA, that is going to link together and codify the American military with the Israeli military.
Did you catch that? Did you catch what he said? This report about being spied on in the Pentagon and our Congress, they suppressed that so that Congress wouldn't know about it until after they voted for Section 224. And from what I understand, yes, it went through Congress. And that's why Natalie was going, what? Yeah, this is absolute treason.
And then it was released afterwards.
Those dirty dogs.
It is. What a surprise that Congress apparently is willing participants in the espionage. I don't know if they care about the espionage. They just care about Israel getting linked in and locked in with the U.S. military. And that's something that is high priority for Benjamin Netanyahu personally. He's been bragging about that to people. He's saying, you know what? We don't need this $3.8 billion in America. We're going to wean ourselves off because we're going to get a partnership, his word, in linking in the militaries together. And I'm like, hell no. We don't even do that for Great Britain, our best ally that we've had for a century. We shouldn't do it for the Israeli side, which is all drag and a negative. All of the benefits go to them. At least with the UK and stuff, there's mutual benefit. There's none here, friends. This is all for the benefit of this other country at our expense, to include our blood. We have shed blood here because of this war that Benjamin Netanyahu wanted, which is directly contradictory and antithetical to American interest, and this needs to come to an end.
Yes, it
They're
does.
not just spying.
Absolutely, it does. And by the way, I printed out Section 224, and I covered it last week, and I'll mention it again until everybody listening to this broadcast gets on the phone, calls your member of Congress, calls your representatives, and tells them, do you realize that Section 224 is treason? Do you understand that that is treason? Do you? Anyway, Section 224, I read. This is the United States-Israel Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative. A, establishment. The Secretary of Defense shall designate an executive agent as such term is defined in the Department of Defense Directive 5101.01 relating to the DoD executive agent issued February 7th of 2022, responsible for synchronizing cooperative efforts between the United States and Israel to expand and accelerate bilateral defense technology, research, development, testing, evaluation, integration, and industrial cooperation by 1. Identifying jointly developed or Israel origin technologies with operational utility for potential integration into United States systems and programs of record. 2. Ensuring collaborative research initiatives involving government, private sector, and academic institutions in the United States and Israel is done in a manner that protects sensitive technology and information and the national security interests of the United States and Israel. I could go on. You should read it for yourself. Look it up. I could sit here and read the whole thing, but that's going to be sort of like watching moss grow. But you've got to read this. Now, again, who was it? It was Congressman Stutzman made a trip to Israel at the end of May. As a matter of fact, there's a photograph floating around the internet of Congressman Stutzman and Bibi Netanyahu, and they're shaking hands and being all buddy-buddy and everything. That was the end of May. So Stutzman gets back here to the States, and I forget the other congressman's name, but anyway, immediately this 224 got inserted into the NDAA, and then they only voted on it a couple days after that. Certainly not enough time for it to circulate into the American public. But, like I said, he was over there at the end of May, and Bibi Netanyahu wrote Congressman Stutzman a letter. And I have it here. It's dated June 1st, just a few days after Stutzman was in Israel. So Bibi Netanyahu writes Congressman Stutzman, and he writes, Dear Congressman Stutzman, I was glad to receive your proposed congressional resolution endorsing my plan to shift the framework for U.S. and Israel defense cooperation from aid to partnership. This was Bibi's idea. And it's not just Section 224. It's also in Senate Bill 4615. And let me see. Yeah, it's Senate Bill 4615. And in that, in Section 622, this is going to merge the United States-Israeli intelligence. So in 224, we're merging the U.S. and Israel with the military. And in the Senate Bill 4615, Section 622, that marries the U.S. and the Israeli intelligence. In other words, the CIA and the Mossad, we've known for years that they've been joined at the hip for decades. But now it becomes official. It's on the paper. And once this thing goes through, it's going to be damn near impossible to undo that link. Folks, you've got to get involved. You've got to call your congressman. You've got to call the Senate. Help them understand that you understand that this is treason. It's absolutely treason. Unbelievable. And this is being done, right under America's nose, and we are just so distracted. Maybe they timed this thing out to vote on it just before the NBA final game, because unfortunately America's priorities are so screwed up, so very screwed up. I got an audio clip here from a guy that basically was saying the same thing that I was saying. We've got our priorities way out of whack. We don't think twice about going out into the street because our basketball team won. People out in the street in New York by the millions, turning over cars, setting buses on fire, having fights, screaming like a damn fool. And we can't do that because all of the kids that are missing. What is wrong with us? America's screwed. Unless we get our head pulled out of the sand or some other part of our anatomy, we're going down, folks. And this is why the American spirit has got to be rekindled. We have to rediscover our testicular fortitude and what it is to be proud to be an American. I hate to be on the soapbox, but come on, folks. What's it going to take to get people to wake the hell up? Got to wake up. As a matter of fact, going to play just a little piece of this.
Come on and wake up, come on and wake up, come on and wake up, America, come on, you gotta wake up, wake. What's it gonna take? You have to shake you. Come on, you gotta wake up, wake. Doesn't take an earthquake. If you sleep, it'll be a mistake. You gotta wake up, wake. What's it gonna take? You have to shake you. Come on, you gotta wake up, wake. Doesn't take an earthquake. If you sleep, it'll be a mistake.
Yeah, does it take an earthquake? If you sleep, it'll be a mistake. And America is sleeping. Sleepwalking into absolute dystopian tyranny. Because the Knicks won. Unbelievable. Just unbelievable. America, you're screwed unless you wake up.
So Trump has already lost this war. And America is going to feel this for decades and decades and decades. It's going to change the balance of power all over the world. Okay? And at this point, he has 3 options left. And only 3 options left. The first one is a retreat. Get the fuck out and retreat. If he does this, America loses all credibility. It loses all of its power, and it probably loses the dollar as well, particularly with any kind of like petrodollar sales or anything like this. Done. Not a good option. The second option, boots on the ground and full-fledged ground invasion. Again, a hideous option. We were in Afghanistan for 20 years and spent, $3.5 trillion, right? And that was against 40 million people. Iran is 93 million people, much, much, much bigger. And they've been planning for this for 4 decades. Just unbelievable. There's absolutely no way that this is going to go in the favor of the United States. This is an absolute, destructive idea for any American president to choose. And the third option, no better. Nuclear. Catastrophic. Could literally just, destroy civilization.
Okay, I'm going to pause it for a second. He was just saying for decades and decades, there's been saber rattling about Iran getting a nuclear weapon. And, of course, we all know where that's been coming from. But the point is that, the more we see what's been going on in the Middle East for decades, it's not like Iran doesn't have a reason to want to develop some sort of a defense mechanism. We haven't, we've given them every reason in the world to prepare for some sort of a nuclear exchange. We all know that Israel has them. We all know that. The UN inspectors have been denied access to their nuclear facilities forever. I mean, we're talking about going all the way back to JFK, which is one of the reasons why JFK got, shall we say, unalived. Yeah, and it wasn't just that, okay? We all know about JFK wanted to get rid of the Federal Reserve and issued the executive order to put out United States notes. I think it was $450 million in United States notes. And that really pissed off the bankers at the Fed. So that was one reason. Another reason is JFK said he wanted to splinter the CIA and cast the pieces to the wind. Splinter them into 1,000 pieces and cast them to the wind, something like that. And he also was on Ben-Gurion's butt, saying that, hey, look it, you want to develop nuclear weapons? No. I'm not giving you the technology. So, there were several different reasons why Israel did not like John F. Kennedy. And, of course, it was just a lone gunman. Yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald. Yeah, we know how that works. There's that group of people that are the masters of false flags and assassinations. Anyway, okay, it's bottom of the hour here. I'm going to take a quick break.
Get More Tank will save you money every month on gas. Get More Tank is a tablet with active ingredients that adds big mileage to every tank. Made in America, the Get More Tank formula is used by trucking companies and heavy industry. Now the Get More Tank formula is available to you. Get More Tank works in any gas or diesel engine, cleans your engine, lowers emissions, and you'll feel improved engine performance every time you step on the gas. Get More Tank works for cars, trucks, boats, motorcycles, four-wheelers, mowers, and blowers. Hey, if you got an engine, then Get More Tank. Contractors, electricians, plumbers, painters, and lawn service companies, Get More Tank will save you money and extend the life of your engines. If you're an owner-operator running your big rig around the town or across the country, Get More Tank will save you money too. If you're a farmer, all of your equipment can use Get More Tank. A 5-pack on sale at GetMoreTank.com for just $22.22 plus shipping. Use the promo code REDPILL101 and get 10% off. Save your money, save your engine, save the earth at GetMoreTank.com. Get More Tank is EPA registered, doesn't void warranties, results vary.
And as always, you can get more Tank by visiting our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors button. It'll take you to an area where you can read all about the specifications and details about Get More Tank, how and why this fuel catalyst works so very well in your vehicle and everybody else's. It's not an additive, it's a catalyst. And that means your fuel burns more efficiently, which means you get A, more power, B, a cleaner engine, and C, this is the moneymaker, you get better mileage. Depending upon your make, model, and year of vehicle and your driving habits, you will enjoy anywhere between 15 and 20% better mileage from using Get More Tank. So this is a no-brainer, folks. With the discount, you get, for $20, you get 5 tablets, and the initial application, you put 2 tablets in a full tank of gas, and from then on in, it's 1 tablet per tank of gas. So if $20 gets you 5 tablets and you get 20% better mileage, that means the 5th tank is free. It's a no-brainer, folks. How much does it cost to fill up your vehicle with a tank of gas? I did mine the other day. It was almost $70. So let's see. Spend $20 and get $70 worth of fuel. Let me think. Gosh, that might be a good thing. Folks, it doesn't make any sense not to be using Get More Tank. So go to our website.
So Trump has already lost this war.
Whoa, what happened? I don't know how that got cued. So anyway, go to our website, TheWTFReports.com. Click on the sponsors page and Get More Tank. Okay, it's 34 minutes past the hour, whatever hour you're sitting in. And if you've got something that you want to add, hey, now's the time to call in. 215-867-8255. Again, 215-TOP-TALK. 867-8255. And I got ahead of myself. I was playing a clip there, and I paused it and then forgot I was going to go back to it. But anyway, I'm going to go back to it right now.
Light the entire world on fire. Trump is fucked. America is fucked. America is going down. And here's the thing, man. These Gulf Coast countries with their military bases, this was the most strategic thing that Iran did. And now with their strategic apology, opening up the door, saying you're all brothers, we're only striking these American targets because we had to, this and that. They've opened up the door for these Gulf countries to pick a side. And it's about time that they picked a side, right? And the reality is this. If they pick the side of the United States and the United States falls, all those countries fall too.
Yep.
And they know this. They can do nothing without the might of America. They have been cajoled and bribed into taking these U.S. military bases into their countries and being dominated and controlled by America. And if America falls, they fall with America. That's just the reality of the situation, right? If they take the side of Iran and America wins, well, they're fucked there too, right? So these people are in a seriously big bind. I'll tell you this, they're going to pick Iran because anybody who has any sort of freaking brain in their head at this point knows that America's going to lose this war.
Yeah, it's just a fact of life, folks. And I'm not here to support or give any kudos to the Iranian regime, okay? But I do have to point out that they're not trafficking children. They're not kidnapping children. No. And not only that, but they have never invaded or attacked another surrounding country. They have never represented a direct threat to the United States. No. And as a matter of fact, the Iranians in Tehran, they revere Jesus and Mother Mary. Yeah. And I found it interesting that, that Muslims and Christians share the same belief that an antichrist is going to come before the return of God. Okay? And again, it's just, we're talking about, beliefs here. But if the Muslims and the Christians both believe that the antichrist is going to come, and yet the Jews believe that their Messiah is going to come, maybe Israel's Messiah is the antichrist. I'm just throwing that out there. I just found that to be really interesting. And anybody who starts criticizing Israel, you know what's going on. I mean, there's a massive campaign right now in the media to stop anti-Semitism. Oh, anti-Semitism's on the rise. All the young people are hating on Israel. Well, maybe they're hating on Israel because Israel is committing genocide. Yeah. They're killing innocent men, women, and children. The numbers came out, and 83% of the casualties in Gaza are women and children. And now they're doing the same thing in South Lebanon as that they were doing in Gaza. And this is why Iran is saying, look, you want to negotiate peace, stop bombing South Lebanon. And what does Israel do? They bomb South Lebanon. Israel doesn't want peace. They want war. They want killing. They want control. And they are doing everything that they can to control the United States. I referenced Section 224 of the NDAA. And I just referenced Section 622 of Senate Bill 4615. And then how else are they controlling America? Do you think it might have something to do with the Epstein files? And what do you suppose they're going to do with anybody who draws attention to the Epstein files? Here's Charlie Kirk.
Lies that Epstein, with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, that there was something else going on here.
I'm going to pause it there for a second. Hey, Dan Bongino, are you listening? Have you put the puzzle pieces together yet? Oh, yeah. It was some Middle Eastern country, he said. Some Middle Eastern country involved in the Epstein blackmail issue, the honeypot thing. Process of elimination. Which Middle Eastern country do you think it could have been? Robert Maxwell was one of the most revered Israeli intelligence spies. And his daughter Ghislaine, as Charlie was just talking about, do you think it might have something to do with Israel? Duh. Go ahead, Charlie. Tell it like it is. Why do you suppose they took Charlie out, and who would have benefited?
Epstein was not some sort of whiz-kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis.
He said
Jeffrey
it right
Epstein
there.
was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Yeah. Amazing. He said it right out loud, folks. He said it. So we all know who was behind this. And as Charlie was saying, yeah, blackmail is a tool of a particular group of people to control another particular group of people, which is why I'm always referencing the three magic words:
bribery, coercion, blackmail.
Yeah, those are the tools of these evil MFers against our country. And I don't know what it's going to take to get America to wake the heck up. You know, I mean, there are forces that want to destroy the entire West. And I played audio clips. As a matter of fact, I'll probably do a show sometime in the near future of just dedicating it, say, let's see how they want to see the West go down. Again, the West is also known as Edom by that particular group of people. Edom meaning Rome. Rome, yeah, they never forgave the Romans. And when Rome moved into Western Europe and then across to the United States, their goal is to destroy Rome or Edom or Europe and North America. That is their goal. And they're going to do that by any and every means necessary, including the Kalergi Plan. If you don't know about the Kalergi Plan, look it up. Yeah. Google will tell you, it's all conspiracy theory. Yeah, find out about the Kalergi Plan, and then look at world events. And then tell me it's a conspiracy theory when it's happening right in your face. Don't believe your lying eyes. Yeah, even Randy Fine. Randy Fine was saying, hey, guess what? Over about 50 years, there won't be a United States, but there will always be Israel. Randy Fine is a treasonist. In his own words, here it is.
I'm not worried about the future of the state of Israel. I'm confident that 50 years from now, the state of Israel will be there. I'm not convinced the United States of America will be here in 50 years.
Whoa. He's confident that Israel will be around, but not so much the United States. Well, maybe that's because he's been in bed with the Talmudic Israeli Luciferians, for lack of a better word. And they're doing it by so many different methods, Anyway, I'm off on a rant again today. Give me a call. I want to hear from you. 215-867-8255. Again, 215-867-8255. Don't wait till the end of the show to call in. Now's the time. If you want to join me, then let's do it. Anyway, there's so much more to get to and so much more evidence to basically support what I'm saying here. And as a matter of fact, let's see, Rick Sanchez, he pointed out a really stupid reporter on NBC, and it shows this is why I've been railing against the networks for all these years. And Rick Sanchez, by the way, yes, he worked for Fox. Yes, he worked for CNN. Yes, he is actually a journalist. But journalism is shunned by the networks here domestically. They don't want journalism. They want propaganda. And for those journalists out there that wanted to continue to practice their craft, they've been drummed out of the domestic media, which is why reporters like Rick Sanchez, reporters like Larry King, reporters like Chris Hedges, formerly from the New York Times, Pulitzer Prize-winning writer, by the way, Ed Schultz. Yeah, he was a radio announcer. I met him back in the 90s. He was in Fargo, North Dakota. Then he went to MSNBC. And when he disagreed back in 2003 about GW, going after Saddam Hussein and bombing the snake snot out of Iraq, he was not on board with that. And so MSNBC paid off his contract and sent him packing. So what happened to all these journalists? Well, they were offered a platform on RT, Russia Today, which is Russia's equivalent of CNN. No, Russia doesn't have to put out propaganda to discredit the United States. The United States is doing a fine job all by themselves. So yeah, let Rick Sanchez and Larry King and Ed Schultz and Chris Hedges and Governor Jesse Ventura and Sean Stone. I mean, all these American writers and journalists ended up on RT. So anyway, here's Rick Sanchez talking about an NBC report. This is almost laughable.
Continuing in the stupid is as stupid does department, listen to this question asked by an NBC reporter when she was interviewing the same guy I interviewed when I was in Iran, Foreign Minister Arachi.
Sir, if that's a red line for you, why is attacking U.S. military bases abroad justified?
But because they are attacking us.
Sir, why are you attacking these countries? Because they're attacking us. It's like...
That is so stupid.
She works for NBC, and she's probably really dumb. And that's exactly what they want. They want somebody really dumb. I used to work there. I worked at NBC. I worked at CNN. I worked at Fox. I worked with people like this. She couldn't find the Persian Gulf on a map. And by the way, if she asked the wrong question, perhaps one that would lead people to believe that she's being critical of the neocons in the United States, or worse, Israel, she would be fired the next day. So she either has to be dumb enough to not know that that's a stupid question, or she asked the stupid question on purpose because she needs to keep her job.
No kidding. No kidding. I mean, it is. That stupid is as stupid does. Unbelievable. And meanwhile, the American people are sitting here saying, wait a second. I played a clip, several weeks ago. Somebody had posted it, say, hey, wait a second. How come we've seen no arrests? How come not one person is being held accountable for all of the crimes and acts of treason that we've seen in this country in the past 10 years? It's been going on for a lot longer than that, but I mean, just in recent memory. I mean, treason is wholesale. It's rife in our government. And the people who call it out are raked across the coals. As a matter of fact, Marjorie Taylor Greene had this to say about it. Come on, let's get you to play. Oh, get to turn the sound on, Dave. Sorry about that. Let's see here. What is this? Download this. No, go away. I hate when the computers just take over your computer. Anyway, here's Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Needs to realize and wake up and see very clearly is President Trump hasn't brought any accountability against any of the Democrats that he campaigned and went so hard against. None of the Democrats on the January 6th committee have been held accountable. No one has been prosecuted for the stolen election of 2020. No one has been held accountable for all the crimes against humanity, for COVID. No one has been held accountable for all of these issues. But he has targeted 4 Republicans harder than he has ever come against any Democrat, and that's myself, Thomas Massey, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. Why? Because we fought to release the Epstein files. And I think that is the story that people need to pay attention to, because that tells more truth about Donald Trump than it will ever tell you on Truth Social.
That's right. So release the Epstein files. Put them out there. Put them out. We deserve to hear the truth. You know, and she was just mentioning, you know, Thomas Massey. You know, and I just played a couple minutes ago an audio clip from Charlie Kirk. And let me remind you that for the year before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, now he was assassinated last September, in the year preceding that, Charlie was out there starting to really notice what was going on with Israel. You just heard the clip. He was going after them, the lobbyists. Okay, and this is one of the reasons why I believe he was taken out. And the bottom line here is that guess who Charlie Kirk was supporting? Who was the one congressman that Charlie was revering? Here's Charlie Kirk again.
One of the most exciting developments from last week's negotiations is the new church committee. And one of the members of that new church committee is one of my favorite members of Congress. He loves the Constitution. He loves liberty. He's honest and he's tough, and he's going to really go after the intel agencies. It's Thomas Massey, who's just terrific, from Kentucky. Congressman Massey, welcome to the program.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Charlie.
So, yeah, Thomas Massey was a guest with Charlie Kirk. And Charlie thought that Thomas Massey was one of the best, if not the best, member of Congress. So we all know what happened to Charlie Kirk. We all know what happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene. We all know what happened to Thomas Massey. Anyone who is truly America first needs to be persecuted or eliminated. And again, you've got your representatives, you've got your senators. Get in contact with them. Let them know that you're watching. Let them know that you understand what the definition of treason is. This is not a game, folks. Or not. Keep singing with Lee Greenwood. I'm proud to be an American, where I get to think I'm free. Yeah, I know. Lately I've been ranting, and I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry. Somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to shake it up and wake it up. You know, I got to ask the question, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? You're just going to wait until it all collapses? Because, you know, America, I got to tell you, your children and your children's children will curse you for your apathy and your complacency. You had a chance to do something, but you were more concerned with the Knicks game. Or the new movie from Spielberg, The Disclosure Day. You know, we get out there and we do all this stuff for all this other stuff that doesn't make any difference. It doesn't matter in the real world. But you know, Epstein files? No, that's just a topic to talk about. Folks, what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
So Thomas Massey lost. And in no way am I surprised, not the least bit. I'm not shocked, not at all, that he lost. Did we really think that the same people who rape children, the same people who sex traffic children, the same people who brought our nation to $40 trillion in debt, who openly rob us every single day, right in front of our fucking face, the same people who openly bow to Satan, who love to murder thousands of children in the Middle East. Did we really think that these kinds of people would play fair politics? Really? I mean, let's be honest here. We have numerous examples of these people doing the complete opposite of playing fair politics. Look what they did to JFK. Look what they did to Charlie Kirk. Look what they did on 9/11. Look at Jeffrey Epstein. Not one person has gone to jail. Not one. Do you really think that these people give a fuck that you know that they rape children? Do you think they really care that you're aware that they're robbing your money?
They don't care because you're not doing anything.
Do you think they give a shit that you're offended by them bowing to Satan, or that you're offended by them murdering children in the Middle East in the thousands?
By the way, this bowing to Satan, I got to remind you, it doesn't matter what you believe. It doesn't matter what I believe. What matters is what they believe. And if you think that, oh, God, that's crazy, they wouldn't be bowing to Satan. Oh, that's crazy. That's conspiracy theory. No, it's not. And again, I hate to point out my own personal history, but going back a whole bunch of years, 30 years ago, I met with Ted Gunderson. And that was my introduction to what sex trafficking was all about. And the proliferation of satanic cults all over this country. And again, it doesn't make any difference what you believe. What matters is what they believe. And if they believe in Lucifer or Satan, and if they believe that they have to sacrifice children and drink their blood, you can just turn your face the other way if you want to. And the more you do that, the more it continues. Okay, let's carry on.
Clearly, obviously, they don't give a fuck. Because at the end of the day, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, what are you going to do?
What are we going to do about it? What is the American people going to do about it? What are you going to do? They have all the power. Who's going to oppose them? Who's going to confront them? Who's going to stop them? Who's going to do what? Clearly, they can do whatever they want. They can rape this kid, kill that kid, take this amount of money. What are you going to do about it?
What you going to do, huh?
Okay, please think about this, because this is a big fucking problem.
Big problem.
They can rig whatever they want. The whole fucking system is rigged. The whole fucking thing is rotten to the core. This is Satan we're dealing with. You understand that? The devil.
Mm-hmm. And again, I refer to our Declaration of Independence. And it says, accordingly, all experience hath shown that mankind are more disposed to suffer, while evils are sufferable. I'll stop right there. Are we going to be just, are we just going to go along with that as long as we can get by? That mankind are more disposed to suffer while evils are sufferable than to right themselves by abolishing the forms to which they are accustomed. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and provide new guards for their future security. That's in the Declaration of Independence. And also, I remind you, the Declaration of Independence reminds us that all men are created equal. All men. Buddhist, Muslim, Christian, Jew. All men are created equal. But there's one group of people that see themselves as above all the others. They call themselves God's chosen people. Who chose them? I don't know if God did. I mean, if it's deeds and not words, and look what's been going on over there in Gaza and South Lebanon. Are these God's chosen people? I got to ask the question, which God? And you should be asking that question too. So what you going to do, America? What you going to do? Well, you better figure it out. And you better figure it out real quick. Because it's coming down, folks. It's coming down a lot sooner than you think it is. So with that, I'm going to remind everybody that these are the WTF reports, and if you're appreciating this broadcast, hey, and you're listening on BitChute or Rumble or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, click like, share, subscribe, spread the word by word of mouth, because that's the best advertising, and you can help us pay the bills by doing business with our advertisers. Get more Tank or Wave Watch, or pick up some merch, coffee cups, baseball caps, T-shirts, or you can just make a donation. We've got a GoFundMe at our website, TheWTFReports.com. All right, that said, I just want to let you know I'll probably do a replay tomorrow. I've got some personal stuff I have to take care of, so we'll see how it goes. So anyway, in the meantime, God bless you all. Stay safe, stay free, And God willing, I'll either see you tomorrow or on Friday. You be safe and you be free. See ya!